Welcome to World Code Updates, your daily briefing on everything happening around the world. The world's gaze shifts north as the Philippines fortifies its northern islands, bracing for the fallout of China's threats over Taiwan. Military helicopters touch down on windswept islands, offloading troops and equipment. This is no longer a distant possibility but a real-time escalation. The Indo-Pacific's power struggle is now unfolding on Taiwan's doorstep, with the Philippines at the center. For years, disputes focused on the South China Sea, but now, the narrow strait between the Philippines and Taiwan is the new flashpoint. China's aggressive moves around Taiwan have forced the region to prepare for the unthinkable. The Philippines, caught between China's ambitions and U.S. commitments, is recalibrating its defense strategy. It's no longer just about sovereignty, it's about regional stability and the global order. Once quiet northern islands are now the front line, watched by the world. Every deployment by Manila and Washington is scrutinized by Beijing, and every Chinese exercise near Taiwan is a warning. The stakes are immense. A single misstep could trigger a global crisis. The Philippines and the US are preparing for a storm they hope never comes. The quiet before the storm is tense, as the world holds its breath. The narrative has shifted from hypothetical threats to immediate realities. The Philippines' choices now shape the region's future. The world is watching, and the consequences of every move are higher than ever. The front line has moved, and the Philippines stands at its edge. The next chapter of the Indo-Pacific struggle is being written here right now. Just south of Taiwan lie the Batanes Islands, closer to Taiwan than to Manila. Their proximity transforms these scenic islands into a strategic prize in the Indo-Pacific. In any Taiwan conflict, Batanes is not a bystander, it's the front row. Control here means projecting power across vital sea and air routes. Missile systems, surveillance drones, and fighter jets could all be stationed here, threatening any invasion fleet. For China, a hostile presence in Batanes is a nightmare scenario. For the US and the Philippines, it's a critical asset and a potential target. The Evitons, long isolated, now find their home at the center of a superpower rivalry. Military presence brings both security and anxiety as their islands become a strategic outpost. Manila and Washington must balance deterrence with the risk of provocation. The transformation of Batanes into a military hub signals how seriously a Taiwan conflict is being taken. The fate of these islands is now tied to Taiwan's and the region's future. The geography that once protected Batanes now makes it a target. The world's eyes are on these islands as the stakes rise. The Philippines military once focused inward, fighting insurgencies. As China's assertiveness grew, attention shifted to the South China Sea. Now the focus pivots north, with US backing, in response to Taiwan tensions. Defense officials are planning for real, not hypothetical, conflict scenarios. A war over Taiwan would have immediate consequences for the Philippines, refugees, military threats, and more. The shift is from maritime defense to territorial defense in the north. The US-Philippines alliance, once strained, is now revitalized and central to Indo-Pacific strategy. Joint planning, intelligence sharing, and military investments are underway to deter Beijing. This pivot requires retraining, new resources, and careful diplomacy. Manila must defend without provoking, preparing for conflict while seeking peace. The government frames this as essential for national and regional security. The Philippines is no longer a bystander in the Taiwan issue, it's a key player. Its northern islands are now central to the strategic equation. The stakes for Manila have never been higher. Military exercises now echo across the northern Philippines. US and Filipino troops conduct live fire drills and amphibious landings in Cagayan and Batanes, practical rehearsals for real defense. Thousands train together, building muscle memory for a conflict they hope to avoid. Beyond drills, permanent outposts are being established and upgraded. Batanes will see enhanced naval facilities and expanded airstrips, agile, dispersed, and hard to neutralize. These lily pad bases support patrols, surveillance, and rapid deployment. Infrastructure upgrades with US help include ports, fuel depots, and communication centers. These serve both military and humanitarian needs, vital in a disaster-prone region. The dual-use nature justifies the buildup. Even as its military intent is clear, the alliance signals resolve. Any aggression will meet a coordinated response. US troops training in these locations complicate adversary planning. The message: these islands will be defended. Once forgotten coastlines are now bulwarks of a revitalized alliance. The security landscape of the region is being transformed. The Luzon Strait between the Philippines and Taiwan contains the Bashi Channel, a vital maritime choke point. It's a superhighway for global trade and a gateway for navies between the Pacific and South China Sea. For China, it's the exit to the open ocean. For the US and allies, it's a strategic lever. Control here means bottling up or unleashing naval power. Islands like Batanes and Fuga are invaluable for surveillance and missile systems. By fortifying these islands, the Philippines and US create a risky passage for Chinese vessels. The battle for these choke points is silent, fought with sensors, submarines, and surveillance. The recent military buildup is about strengthening the Allied position. The message to China: freedom of navigation will be defended. The fate of a future conflict could hinge on who controls this narrow stretch of water. The stakes in the Luzon Strait have never been higher. The Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement, or EDCA, is the backbone of the U.S.-Philippines alliance. It allows the U.S. to build facilities and pre-position assets at Philippine bases, now expanded to northern Luzon, closer to Taiwan. This shift gives the U.S. a robust, distributed footprint, reflecting the strategic pivot north. New EDCA sites improve joint training and disaster response, but their military value is clear. These locations serve as logistical hubs and potential staging areas in a crisis, especially involving Taiwan. Northern sites like Lalo Airfield and Naval Base Camilo Osias put U.S. forces just a short flight from Taiwan. This proximity is invaluable for intelligence and rapid support. The expansion is welcomed in Washington and cautiously in Manila, seen as a tangible U.S. commitment. For the Philippines, it means modern infrastructure and training without permanent U.S. bases. It's a flexible arrangement that boosts defense and maintains sovereignty. Beijing, however, sees the new sites as part of a U.S. strategy to contain China. The EDCA expansion has fundamentally altered the region's strategic calculus. The Philippines is now a frontline state in the Taiwan issue. China views the U.S.-Philippines alliance and northern military buildup as provocative, not defensive. Beijing accuses Manila of being a pawn in Washington's strategy to encircle China. In response, China has increased naval and air activity around Taiwan and the South China Sea. Large-scale exercises simulate invasions and send political signals to the region. Chinese rhetoric has grown more aggressive, accusing the Philippines of violating the One China policy. State media push the narrative that EDCA sites are staging grounds for U.S. intervention. China combines military posturing with diplomatic and information warfare, aiming to divide the Philippines and sow doubt. This creates a dangerous cycle. U.S. and Philippine moves prompt Chinese escalation and vice versa. The risk of miscalculation and accidental escalation grows. The Indo-Pacific is now crowded with warships, jets, and competing interests. China's reaction to the Philippines' fortification is a key part of this volatile mix. Every move is fraught with risk, turning the region into a high-stakes checkerboard. The potential for conflict is real and rising. The Philippines is now at the heart of this strategic contest. The new infrastructure in northern Philippines is officially for humanitarian aid and disaster relief. Ports, airfields, and logistics hubs are vital in a disaster-prone country. Quick response saves lives when typhoons strike. But these same facilities can support military operations, landing troops, refueling jets, servicing warships. This dual-use dilemma is not lost on anyone, least of all China. The humanitarian angle provides political cover and domestic support. It allows Manila to frame the U.S. presence as a partnership for safety, not just war. This narrative counters Chinese accusations of the Philippines becoming a U.S. military platform. Ultimately, humanitarian and military functions are two sides of the same coin. Logistics for disaster response are the same as for defense. By investing in dual-use facilities, the Philippines boosts national security and resilience. This pragmatic approach strengthens the state, but also shifts the military balance. The region is fundamentally changed by these new assets. The Philippines' pivot north puts it at the center of the Indo-Pacific's most dangerous question: what if conflict erupts over Taiwan? With new EDCA sites and a fortified Batanz, the Philippines is now central to U.S. strategy for Taiwan's defense. Proximity means Manila would be drawn into any conflict, willingly or not. The U.S.-Philippines alliance is now deeply integrated into plans for Taiwan, not just South China Sea security. New drills and infrastructure enable rapid U.S. response to a Taiwan crisis. This makes Philippine bases likely targets in any conflict. Unlike other ASEAN states, the Philippines has chosen to deepen its U.S. alliance, gaining influence but also risk. The government bets that a strong U.S. partnership deters Chinese aggression. But if deterrence fails, Manila faces tough choices: allow U.S. operations, join the fight, or try to stay out. The nation is recalibrating its defense for a once unthinkable scenario. By fortifying its north, the Philippines signals its intentions and allegiance. It has stepped into a more dangerous, consequential role on the world stage. The Indo-Pacific's future may hinge on Manila's next moves.